dog that will get lost does not hear the hunter's whistle. The tarmac at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport was meant to be a stage for loyalty. January 18, 2026, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's jet touched down after 21 days abroad. Cabinet members lined up in their finest agbadas, ready with rehearsed smiles and choreographed welcomes, but one face was missing: the self-proclaimed landlord of Abuja, the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. And his absence wasn't an accident, it was a declaration of war. While other ministers jostled for position to shake the president's hand, Wike was somewhere else, nursing a grudge that had been festering for months. The issue? Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State, the man Wike handpicked from obscurity, the man he crowned, the man who now calls him a backing dog on national television. For Wike, Fubara's defection to the All Progressives Congress wasn't just betrayal, it was the ultimate disrespect. And the person he blames for enabling it is standing right there on that tarmac, shaking hands and waving. This story is developing rapidly with implications that could reshape Nigerian politics. To stay ahead of updates on this unfolding power struggle, ensure you're subscribed to the channel. Rewind 6 months. Fubara was suspended, politically cornered, and everyone assumed Wike held all the cards. The conditions for his reinstatement were clear: stay in the PDP, keep Rivers State's party structure intact, and don't even think about 2027. Wike still fancied himself the undisputed godfather of Rivers politics, but Fubara did the unthinkable. He followed the assembly members who had already jumped to the APC. He switched parties, and in that single move, he didn't just change colors, he grew wings. There's a bitter irony in watching a political godfather realize his protege learned too well from his own playbook. Fubara, once dismissed as Wike's puppet, transformed into something else entirely. He stood before cameras and microphones and called Wike a barking dog, said he makes noise outside and cries inside. Let that sink in. A sitting governor calling his political godfather a federal minister a barking dog, on record, in public. For someone like Wike, who built his entire identity on being feared and respected, this was worse than any electoral loss. But what stung even more wasn't the insult itself, it was the confidence behind it. Fubara felt protected, and Wike knows exactly where that protection comes from: Aso Rock. Think about it from Wike's perspective. He has a governor who was on the ropes, who went through suspension, who by all rights should still be looking over his shoulder. Instead, he's moving around like he owns the place. He's defying every move. He's refusing to play the grateful subordinate. Nobody does that unless they have serious backing. And in Nigerian politics, there's no backing more serious than presidential backing. So Wike did what Wike does. He went on a tour of Rivers State, flexing his muscles, reminding everyone he built the infrastructure, the schools, the roads. He boasted that no one would save Fubara. He directed his loyalists in the State Assembly to begin impeachment proceedings, dusting off the godfather's ultimate weapon. But even as he made these threats, even as he projected strength, reality was setting in. The ground had shifted. Then came the second blow. During his Rivers tour, Wike ran headfirst into resistance from an unexpected corner: his own party. APC bigwigs, including party officials, delivered a message that must have cut deeper than Fubara's insults. You are not really one of us. If you have problems with our party members, maybe you should leave the cabinet. Imagine that, the man who thought joining the APC made him untouchable, being told by party officials that he is essentially persona non grata. For someone with Wike's ego, this was unbearable. He's not used to being the outsider. He's not used to party officials questioning his position, and he's definitely not used to being told he should resign. Here's what you need to understand about Nyesom Wike. Throughout his political career, he has demonstrated one ironclad principle. He fights everyone who stands in his way: former governors, party chairmen, fellow ministers, presidents if necessary. Nobody gets a pass. And now, all signs point to President Bola Tinubu becoming the latest addition to his collection. The missing welcome party on January 18th wasn't a scheduling conflict. It was Wike moving his chess piece into an aggressive position, testing the waters, seeing how Tinubu would respond. This is heading somewhere, and that somewhere isn't reconciliation over tea at Aso Rock. Wike believes Tinubu betrayed him by allowing Fubara into the APC fold. By giving Fubara the presidential umbrella he needed to stand up to his former godfather, Tinubu essentially kneecapped Wike's power in Rivers State. And for a man whose entire identity is built on being the strong man of Rivers politics, that's an existential threat. The president might have thought he was being clever. Bringing Fubara into the APC strengthens the party's foothold in Rivers State. Keeping Wike in the cabinet maintains inclusivity, classic political triangulation. But Tinubu may have underestimated just how personal Wike takes these things. This isn't about party politics or state control. For Wike, this is about respect, about power, about not being made to look weak. And right now, with Fubara calling him a barking dog while enjoying what looks suspiciously like presidential protection, Wike looks exactly like what he fears most: powerless. Anyone who follows Nigerian politics knows Wike doesn't plot quietly. When he fights, everyone knows about it. The man operates at one volume, very loud. So the question isn't whether Wike will escalate. The question is when and how. Will he start publicly criticizing government policies? Will he use his control of the FCT to create administrative headaches? Will he reach out to opposition figures or worse, disgruntled elements within the APC itself? The smart money says all of the above because history has taught us this about Nyesom Wike. He would rather burn the house down than be told he doesn't have a seat at the table. He would rather fight and lose than bow his head quietly. It's not in his nature. From Tinubu's perspective, this is delicate. You can't have a cabinet minister openly feuding with you. The optics are terrible. But Wike has considerable political capital, especially in the South-South. He's not someone you dismiss without consequences. Yet, the president also cannot appear weak. If Wike starts this fight publicly and Tinubu doesn't respond firmly, it invites others to test his authority. It's a classic political trap, and both men are walking into it with their eyes open. And somewhere in all of this, Fubara must be watching with mixed feelings. Satisfaction because he finally broke free, anxiety because when elephants fight, the grass gets trampled. Presidential backing only goes so far, especially when it comes from a president dealing with a rebellious cabinet member who must calculate the political cost of every move. Fubara's best hope is that Tinubu stands firm, that the president decides Wike has become more trouble than he's worth, but that's a gamble. And in Nigerian politics, gambles don't always pay off. The tragedy of this unfolding drama is that it's entirely predictable and entirely avoidable, yet it's probably going to happen anyway. Wike's pride won't let him back down, Tinubu's authority won't let him appear weak, Fubara's ambitions won't let him return to being a subordinate, and the political machinery keeps grinding forward, indifferent of the personal drama. This is Nigerian politics at its raw. Egos clashing, alliances crumbling, all convinced they're the protagonist, when in reality, they're all just characters in a tragedy performed 1,000 times before. The only question now is how much damage gets done before someone finally blinks. And if history is a guide, Wike doesn't blink. He stares until the other person looks away or until everything around him is on fire.